Hey!
There we are. I think you can hopefully hear us and hopefully see us as well. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 1. We are here tonight for round number 2 of Season 17, and it's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from, of course, the fish-shaped track of the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. My name is James Head, Sunderland supporter, leading you through here tonight in terms of the commentary, and joining me in the commentary box, the man, sadly, whose team defeated us on Tuesday night, little we say less, it is Mr. Joseph D'Ambrosio. Joe, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. We have indeed done the double over you, but yeah, well, I don't think I'm in any position to laugh based on the current allegations of cheating in the world of football at the moment. But less of that, more of the racing. Delighted to be here once again in Saudi Arabia. Great setup last week we had in Bahrain for another season-long fight.
Yeah, definitely so. And we are going to get going very much so very soon indeed in terms of the racing out on track. So we'll quickly run through, that's the wrong graphic, quickly run through the race results, of course, from last week. Kai Pearson out on top from Cameron Dowd in second. Cameron, of course, got his P2 actually given to him in the end, with Liam Bowman getting the penalty, I think, finishing in third in the end. Mubarak there in fourth, Flopman there in fifth. Joe, of course, you were here alongside Gareth last week. Kai Pearson once again, fifth console tier 1 victory in WOR. Cameron Dowd second, Liam Bowman in third, definitely sets up well for the season ahead.
Yeah, it was indeed, and it wasn't, domination by any means from Kai Pearson, despite that 1.5-second gap. Of course, him and Liam Bowman were towing each other. They were helping each other along all the way through the race. And of course, that was because they were offsetting Cameron Dowd's strategy. They were catching up to him after an earlier pit stop for the second place man. So yeah, each driver, slightly different qualities about them, to say the least. Again, I think this is just going to be a really fun fight.
It is going to be a really fun fight indeed. It's going to be well versed as well, because Kai obviously is doing PC Tier 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So he's going to have half and half of his time, one on console, one on PC, which is always going to be good. I like to see drivers challenging themselves, which is always really good. And Kai definitely top of his game, as well as top of the standings as well from last week. Pretty much same result as what you saw there. Kai Pearson out on top on 25 points, with Cameron Dowd in second, 18. Liam Bowman in third on 15. The two Flying Scotsmen second and third in the championship. That'll be interesting. Mubarak there in fourth on 12, and Flopman in fifth on 10. Quantum in 6th on 8th, and Joe Murphy in 7th on 6th, Zozo in 8th on 4, Matthew Hall there in 9th on 2 on his return, and then Macho there in 10th on the 1 point, the un point, as we say here in Eurovision World, as Eurovision is coming up in about 2 months' time. Anyways, we're going to Saudi Arabia tonight, 6.1 kilometres in length, 3.8 miles, 27 turns away now at drivers out on track. Of course, 3 DRS ons, one down the start finish straight in towards turn 1, one down the back straight now in towards turns 22 and 23, and then another down in toward the famous final corner of turn 27, where Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton came together famously around here in 2021. Let's hope, though, Joe, we're having none of that from our guys here tonight.
I mean, when didn't they come together in 2021, I think, is probably the best way to put it around this circuit. I'm sure everybody is very familiar, having watched the Formula 1 yesterday and today. It's always very strange coming into WOR off the back of a real-life qualifying session on a Friday night, but so be it on Friday. But yeah, I'm sure this is going to be fast, frantic, and of course, chaotic. The walls are only ever millimetres away.
Yeah, you don't want to catch the wall like I did in my league race around here it was a couple of weeks ago, it was on a Saturday, ended up in the wall, and not the best experience whatsoever. I think I did recover to finish in 6th, if I'm not mistaken, in that race as well. So at least I have got a little bit to brag about tonight in here in the commentary box at least. Mubarak, though, was the first man out on track for the F7R man, and we'll see what the Williams man can do now coming through the left-hander of the final corner. Very tricky final corner, and that's what Mubarak's just nearly found out there, that big snap of oversteer. Going to lose some time all the way down the straight now in towards turn 1. We should see in excess of 200 mile an hour down in towards turn 1 as well, with Mubarak, as now the Swissman comes in toward the left-hander of 1, and then through the right-hander of turn number 2. Can take second gear through there. Normally, I think third is preferred by the drivers. Now Mubarak comes in toward the left-hander, now turn number 4, and these two come at you quite very quickly indeed. pretty much as quick as Mike Tyson punching Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day in WWE. As now Mubarak comes to the left-hander of turn 10, through the right-hander of 11, now through the kink of 12, then toward the middle sector now, the first sector split 31.3. Through the first sector, not looking bad at all, is Mubarak now coming through the left-hander of turn number 13. Pretty much around the fin of the fish is around this track. The painted curbs there on the right-hand side of 14 and now in toward the chicane of turn 16 and 17, looking very, very good. And straight through there is Mubarak now coming down this DRS straight down in towards the left-handers now of turns 22 and 23. Oliver Bearman getting very close to the wall here, of course, in Q2 earlier on. Mubarak 59.1 in the middle sector. Now coming to the right hand of turn 24. Now through this very long, kinking double left-hander of turns 25 and 26. Passing the Red Sea on the right-hand side, and Mubarak is now embarking on towards the final corner. The Williams, the Alpine, they're getting out of the way on the left-hand side, but the Williams now comes through the final corner. The F7L man now on the run to the line, looking like a very decent lap, I've got to say. Probably in the 26s, I think, this. Mubarak to the line, 26 flat, dead on. Perfect lap for Mubarak, and a great banker to set off on tonight's action.
Yeah, certainly we'll be seeing a lot of laps in the 1 minute 25s this evening. There's one of them from Kai Pearson, 25.7 already for a banker lap. NLR Tim quite a way off there as well. PR Furious with exactly the same lap time as F7R MOBA. Stokes to the line going second. The Dutchman not having a great qualifying last week, but already off to a very good start here this evening. As drivers fight against invalidation, still very much possible around here. The high curbs, risk versus reward in every single corner of the racetrack. And, well, no real issues to report so far. We've got 2D coming into the final corner now. Turn 27 will be one that catches a lot of drivers out, particularly on their final runs of the session. You're loading the fronts into the corner, hoping for that rotation, and then suddenly the rear goes light. It's going to be a real tough battle the whole way around the lap for these drivers.
I've just realised there's no game sound coming through, so apologies about that. That should be fixed now. Cameron Dowd on the run to line, they're going 8th fastest. Not a bad lap there at all. From Flying Scotsman 2.0, Flying Scotsman 1.0, and Liam Bowman is there down in 11th position. As I think Furious they're going into 7th. Gabor they're going 5th as well. So nice solid lap there from the NVR man. Tom, I think, is on a lap time as well. Coming to the line, he goes 6th fastest and a 26 flat. So not a bad lap time at all. Mubarak and Furious, by the way, same lap time as well being set. So very, very close. Jerry Van Bustel and Joe Murphy, same lap time being set as well. I think there is going to be a common theme around here. That is for sure. Macho not getting the lap time in. I know Cameron Dowd's dad is supporting Macho rather than his own son in the comment section there tonight. Oh, as Macho was actually just ran into the back of his own teammate coming through the left-hander at turn 13. Ferrari there just coming out. That was Cameron Dowd on a down lap. Macho there running completely into the back of him. Not on earth sure what happened there. Right side end plate damage on the car, and Cameron Dowd and Macho are absolutely livid with themselves. The first rule of racing around this track and around any track: do not hit your teammate, and that is what we have seen within the first 6 minutes of the session.
What are they doing? I can't believe I've just seen that. Macho very lucky that he's only got front wing damage on that Ferrari, because I was doing EOR just last night and I did see a Ferrari have its front left tyre taken off because of a slow moving car. But to have it be your teammate, and I'm sure they are very much communicating this evening, being teammates, being both in Shazoo. I don't want to see a Shazoo Civil War this evening, but well, there's already signs of it here in Jeddah. Goodness me, they've both gotten away with that one.
They have got away. It's only damaged pride, I think, as well as a damaged front wing, unfortunately, for Macho there. 26 flat from his perspective. Quantum, by the way, went 11th, 26.1. That was on his second run. Joe... Luke's saying in the chat, Joe was absolutely fuming. I can tell he's absolutely fuming, even the commentary box. That is for sure. It is Kai Pearson, though, at the top. Jerry Van Bussel there in second. Joe Murphy there in third. The first 6 minutes gone of this console tier 1 session here tonight in Saudi Arabia. F7R Flopman, who hasn't been a flop so far in Legacy Division, has done very well for F7R back then. F7R were leading the championship, of course, going into last week. And Flopman now coming to the left-hander of turns 25 and 26. Could be interesting to see how he gets on out on track. Normally the ever-aggressor, I've got to say, out on track, Flopman, in terms of his aggressive driving style. He's going to now use his aggressive driving style to good effect, because he's now coming to the final corner on the run line to start his lap.
He is indeed, and Flopman had a bit of an under-the-radar sort of race, you know, last week. He's qualified 14th, only 4/10 off pole. It was a very close grid, but he recovered to P5. He stuck with MOBA for the most part throughout the race as well. So you have to say, very good drive, and qualifying is usually one of his specialities. So we're hoping to tidy this up today as he now runs through the left-hander of turn number 9, where Zhou Guanyu had his incident earlier on. Miracle that they got that car fixed, but either way, he's through nice and cleanly. He's not going to banker on the board, so a 31.3 won't be too strong of a comparison to make to any other drivers at the moment. Oh, and I think he's just a little bit too tight coming through the banking of turn 13. Yeah, the car just trying to snap out on him there. Nothing more really can be said about that. Looking nice and clean, though, through the left-hander onto this back straight now, where you get a few little kinks. It's a lot more open nowadays in real life. I'm sure we'll see this reflected more on the F1 24 game, where they, of course, made the first modifications to the track to improve visibility. DRS open up once again now for Flotman. And I think that's his teammate awaiting him at the final corner. Hopefully no crashes between the two F7R drivers. Might even be a small toe to the line. No, Moba's already setting his up. Round to the final corner is Flotman. Again, could maybe have afforded a little bit of a tighter line. Another slap on the exit. Bit of a oversteery setup in play there for Flotman as he goes 13th fastest.
Yeah, 13 fastest didn't look really good, I've got to say, in terms of that lap time. Normally we see him going very, very quick in terms of qualifying, but he's 4/10 off Kai Pearson, off top right now. So Flopman normally up there, might not be a strong suit his lap. Mubarak, though, definitely a strong suit around here in terms of this track here in Saudi Arabia. Now coming through the right-hander, the turns 8 and 9. Furious just on up on a lap time as well, coming down in towards turn number 1. Mubarak now through the first sector. It's a 31.4 in the first sector, so actually down on what Flopman was setting in that first sector. Middle sector and final sector, absolutely crucial around here. Taking the water line there, Mubarak. We saw with Flopman's lap how he got really close to the wall. In fact, nearly spun into the wall, I think, if he didn't recover that car. Mubarak now coming to the left-hand return 16 and 17, looking very nice and neat. Now coming through the middle part of this lap, running now down the straight in towards turns 22 and 23. The infamous corners around here as Tim has retired from the session, and that, I think, is out on track coming through turns 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken, as Mubarak has just invalidated his lap time. We'll see where Tim is, actually, in terms of the whole grand scheme of things on this lap. Flopman nowhere near him. Matthew Hall's just gone through that part of the sector. Macho coming through the first couple of corners. Cora's now gone, but I think Tim crashed coming through turn 6.
Yeah, I think so. And I saw Stonks go over the outside curb at turn 4. It's all happening out on the circuit. I'm watching different things. You're seeing different things, but second and third currently on flying laps. Kai Pearson's just joined them. Jerry Van Bussel and Joe Murphy both on identical lap times at the moment. Stonks unable to improve on 4th on this particular occasion. Coming up to the line was Flotman. He's coming back into the pit lane. So I think next up will be one of the Mercedes cars. I think it's Furious. He's also aborted into the pit lane. So far, the second lap time's really beginning to catch drivers out. Joe Murphy now also invalid. F7R Yeri has also backed off his lap.
He has backed off his lap indeed. Macho, by the way, lost another front wing. That's his second of the night that he's actually lost. So Team Chazoo, definitely with Macho at least, are going to be costing Ferrari a few front wings here tonight. Maybe a few $1,000s coming Macho's way as well in terms of expenses and damage potentially as well. But Kai Pearson out on top. Joe Van Bussel second, Joe Murphy in third. Joe Murphy backing off that lap time. Tootie now goes quickest, 25.6. The Team TF10 man. Kai Pearson, though, was up in the first sector. And is he up in the middle sector? Yes, 500ths of a second up. 58.8 in that middle sector. So very quick through that middle sector from Kai Pearson. The championship leader now coming through turns 25 and 26. And now until the left-hander of turn 27, as quite a few drivers have backed off their lap time. Mubarak back in the pit lane along with Furious. But Kai Pearson now coming through the final corner on the run to line. Very neat and tidy through that final corner on the run to line. Is he going to try and outdo 2D to the line? Yes, he does. 25.505. Big final sector there from Kai Pearson. 2/10 found in that final sector, and Kai Pearson returns to the top, and he's a 10th and a half clear nearly of 2D there in second, and 2/10 clear of Gabor there in third. And Joe, 2/10 of a gap to have on Gabor at this stage in the session, massive around a track like this.
Yeah, it is indeed. I mean, 2D probably thought there, I've got a chance at pole position, not when Kai Pearson is on the ball and qualifying in as great form as ever. Gabor, though, going third. That's a significant improvement from what he had last week, only qualifying 17th. That set him up for a really poor race in the end. That, of course, is a driver that does want to be in and around the podium places for the remainder of the season. Quantum's invalid, just monitoring some other lap times. Zorzo on an in lap now as well. I think that just about does it for run 2. That advantage for Kai Pearson is significant. How many mistakes do we see on final runs around here in Jeddah? And we've lost Gabor to a disconnect there, I think, so I'll deal with that for the time being.
Yeah, hopefully we can get Gabor back in. He's there in 3rd position right now, so definitely needs to get back into the session. Furious and Mubarak are back out there on their outlaps for it. Just a bit of breaking news actually coming through from F2. If you did watch F2 a little bit earlier on, Richard Verschuer has been disqualified from the Jeddah sprint race, and that was because both Trident cars were found to have had an incorrect throttle pedal progressivity map, very difficult for me to say in commentary at least, installed prior to the race, which was not in compliance with technical regulations, and that means for sure is starting at the back of the field in the F2 feature race, which is happening tomorrow. But Kai Pearson out on top here in Saudi Arabia, from 2D there in 2nd, Gabor there in 3rd. Luckily no Richard Verschuer here tonight, no sprint race here tonight either, but Mubarak has gone completely off, coming through turn and brake, Tony Hawk style, riding on that curb. I know fine well how I've rode on that curb before. I needed Oster coming through that curb as well. So Mubarak has now found my line coming through there. Mubarak has invalidated on his run. I think Furious is now going to start up on his lap and hopefully won't be too furious by the man invalidating in front of him out on track.
Yeah, indeed, and of course the two drivers on exactly the same lap times at the moment, so let's pretend they're having a bit of a heated rivalry, just for the sake of it, and they both want to beat each other in the last 4 minutes of the session. There's one thing that MOBA usually does though, and that is come out on a scrub set of tyres, do a stupidly early out lap, come back into the pits and then qualify officially in the last few minutes of the session. He always does that, MOBA. I don't think he's catching me out nowadays with his old trickery that he likes to do, but again, why not just be out there on the circuit if the opportunity arises? There will be a restart after this because of the grid penalties incurred, I think, by Gabor up in P3. By the way, it's been a very good first sector for Furious. Let's not take this away from him at the moment as he rounds turn number 17 as I get lost on my own track map. DRS open then. No cars to worry about ahead of him. No close calls like we've seen already this evening involving the Ferraris. This is a purple lap, it says, for Furious. 3/10 up at the moment. This could threaten the second row of the grid. Will be one of Furious's best qualifying displays. Of course, we only have to think back to Monaco last season for one better than that. Rounding the final corner at turn 27, 4th gear, picking up the throttle nicely. Furious to the line. Furious possibly still improving as he goes over that inside white line that you're not allowed to do in real life. It is a second row start for Furious. He won't have time for another lap, but that will do nicely.
That will do very nicely indeed. But look at the gap in behind. Jerry Van Bossel, Joe Murphy, 1400ths of a second. It's a doddle, I think, for them to try and improve on their lap time. Same with Stonks as well, 25.7. Anybody else further down will be very difficult, I think, to try and improve on their lap times very noticeably, at least. Not sure who is the first man out on track right now. I think it is one of the Williamses, if I'm not mistaken. Could be potentially the F7R man of Flopman. Indeed, it is the F7R man of Flopman. Down there in P14, normally a consistent qualifier in Legacy Division, normally a consistent qualifier here in Console Tier 1 as well. Ideally, Joe, Flopman down in P14, 26.121. I'm looking at Tom there on a 25.987. He's only got a 10th and a half roughly to find on Tom. Mubarak's now had a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. All of that's being picked up in the middle sector. But Flopman there in 14th. Ideally, he needs to find 3/10 of a second to get a really decent lap in.
Yeah, he does. And the encouraging thing for him is he's got that. We saw live on board with him the mistakes he was making significantly at turn 13. And then, of course, through the final few corners as well for F7R Flopman. So let's see what he's got this time. Again, another twitch of oversteer coming around turn 2. More problems for Gabor, I'm sad to report, and that second row start that he has at the moment may be under threat from cars behind. Very nice indeed from Flopman so far. Can he get this part of the lap right? Yes, he can. Turning in from that raised curb on the outside, using it on the exit there of turn number 11 through the kink of 12 and on to turn 13 where he was struggling before. He's found a 10th in sector 1. Again, keeps it low. That's a lot better. Traction there, good. Coming out of the banking.
Yeah, Furious has retired there in the pit lane as well. So Furious out of the session, down to P4. You've just caught something?
Yeah, it's Flopman. He's hit the inside wall, and he's going to take his wing off because he knows that this lap is done. Turn 16 and 17, clipped the inside wall, turning in too early, bounced onto that outside curb, and yeah, it was going straight into the scene of a potential accident.
TRC Brandox was up on a lap time, but he's actually invalid through the middle sector. Ogween, I think, is on a lap time, but he's actually nowhere near. It's Joe Murphy that is going to be next across the line, but he's 4.5 tenths down and also invalid as well. So I'm just trying to flick on who's next up on a lap time. It's one of the Mercedes. It is NVR Stonks. He's 2,000 up through the middle sector. Normally sets a stonking lap in terms of Legacy Division. Let's see if he's got one in his bag here. Now coming to the left-hander of the final corner. On the run toward the line comes the TTM man. Now part of MVR, of course. Stonks now on the run toward the line. We'll see what his lap time is going to be. And he goes fourth, 25.759. Minimal improvement, but gets him onto the second row of the grid for now. Zozo to the line, improves into 8th position. Not a bad lap at all from him. Tom is improving by a 10th of a second. 2D is improving by a 10th of a second. And we catch on board with him now, coming in towards turn 16 and 17. Actually, now down the straight, in towards turns 22 and 23. Let's see what 2D is doing in this middle sector. Oh, it's good. 800 top, and it's a 58.7. Quicker than Kai Pearson in that middle sector. Kai Pearson, though, invalid. So this is now all on 2D. The Romanian now coming through the left-hander of turns 25 and 26 in toward the final corner. Got to find, ideally, 600th of a second from somewhere. Now 2D comes through the final corner. Beautiful coming out of the final corner. On the run to the line will come the McLaren. On the run to the line will come the Team TF10 man. Does he outdo Kai Pearson for pole? No, he doesn't. It's very close in the end. 5,000th of a second. 2D to the line second. Liam Bowman gets a good lap time then there in third. Mubarak now on the run to the line. He goes in the end down in 16th. He's actually just finishing off on a lap, and he actually doesn't improve, I don't think, does Mubarak. But in the end, it is Kai Pearson out on top. 5,000th of a second. 2D there in second. Did everything right, bar improve on his lap time. Liam Bowman there in third. Did everything right on his lap time to get third. But Kai Pearson out on top, Joe. 2D in second. 5,000th of a second, the gap on the front row.
Agonisingly close for the Romanian driver. Would have been a historic pole position in WOR Tier 1. I know he's put a lot of preparation into this one. Kai Pearson will argue he's put less into it because of his PC commitments, etc. But that is so close and exactly what we want to see from another close qualifying session in WOR. Liam Bowman third on the grid ahead of Yeri, qualified last week. Gabo qualified 17th last week. He wasn't able to get a final flying lap in, of course. Had Stokes, Furious, Joe Murphy, Tom and Macho in the top 10. Cameron Dowds, another contender for the championship, finished second last week. He's down in P11.
He is down in P11 indeed. Running through the rest of the field as well, we've got Matthew Hall, Ogween, Zozo, Quantum, Mubarak, Keki, Flopman down in 18th in the end. Watch out for him going into the race. Brandox there 19th, and then Tim, after crashing out in very early circumstances in the qualifying session, they're out at the back of the field. We are going to take a word from our sponsored Grid Finder and Next Level Racing. We'll be back with you as soon as the lights go green. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Console Tier 1 and to Season 17, Round 2 here in Saudi Arabia. Myself, James Head, and Mr. Joe D'Ambrosio alongside me in the commentary box. Something against Leicester Tuesday. I don't want to really talk about it, but we can talk
Why
about it.
so?
We can talk about at least, though, the race results from last week, of course, in Bahrain. And what a fantastic race, of course, Bahrain was. Kai Pearson out on top, Cameron Dowds in second, Liam Bowman there in third, and it's that man, Kai Pearson, Joe, once again at the top step of the podium, at least in qualifying.
Yes, he is, but he knows, again, I'm going to say the stat, he's exited 11 of the last 12 WR races as a championship leader and still didn't come away with that title. So he knows that this form has got to last for the whole thing. You know, there's no letting up so soon in the season. As for last week's results, yeah, really good, wasn't it? For the potential fight that we could have, Kai Pearson, Cameron Dowds, Liam Bowman, the three that we really pitched to be up there following Enzo, Sammy Shemsi's departure full time into PC Tier 2, who Kai Pearson is, of course, competing against. Moba, Flopman, there or thereabouts in the top 5 as well. They're always going to be scoring consistent points. Don't rule them out of a potential sniff, potential comebacks throughout the field this evening.
Definitely not. Looking at qualifying as well, actually coming through, just a throw a bit of comparison on those race results. Kai Pearson, of course, out on top here in qualifying, out on top last week in Bahrain. Liam Bowman, third in qualifying, third in the championship currently as it stands from Bahrain. Mubarak there down, all the way down the field, I think, in the end. Mubarak is what? He's not even on my screen. He is I can't even find him. Oh, you can't see me on the camera. He's P16 is Mubarak. So Mubarak has got a lot of ground to make up. Flopman there in 18th as well got a lot of ground to make up. And transitioning that into points, obviously from last week, Kai Pearson out on top in the championship. Liam Bowman there, third in the championship. First and third here in qualifying. Mubarak and Flopman, if they want to try and stay in title contention even at this early stage, they've got to find some form. They've got to find some real good verve out on track here tonight. As is Cameron Dowds, but Cameron Dowds luckily is starting in the mid pack in the field, so it's not too bad for him.
Cameron Dowds, 11th in the Ferrari. Who else was 11th in a Ferrari today? Oliver Behrman, the young 18-year-old, making a name for himself with a surprise appearance this evening. I'm here very much for more surprises tonight. As you mentioned, with it being Saudi Arabia, we could get no safety cars. We could get 4 or 5 safety cars. The possibilities around here are very much endless. But I do anticipate a potentially similar sort of strategy to last week, maybe, with some drivers opting soft, others going longer on hards. We're going to have mix-ups throughout. We're going to see drivers really put through their paces in terms of overtaking.
Yeah, I think all three compounds really are going to be up against the grain tonight. I think softs and hards, as you mentioned, I think softs and hards probably the most popular to go on at the start of the race. Then transition onto their alternative. Obviously, softs will be onto mediums, and then hards will be onto softs probably towards the end of the race. Some drivers may opt towards mediums towards the mid stage of the race. Undercut around here, absolutely potent as well. Undercut strategy can gain you about 4 seconds on average around. If you go an extra 1, 2, even 3 laps, it can gain you about 4 seconds over that course of 3 laps. So anybody that pits in earlier will have warmer tyres, but they could be under threat from everyone that comes in and behind and have the fresher tyres right at the end of the race. So it is going to be tactically intriguing here tonight. Get your predictions in the comment section, by the way, for who you think is going to win here in Console Tier 1 here tonight. I'm going to push Joe immediately for a prediction and say, Joe, who you going for the win?
Oh, it's so tough because I really want to say Kai to win from pole, but I know that if something does go wrong with him, I will be the one to blame. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Kai from pole. I don't really see him easily beaten tonight.
Kai from pole. I'm going to go a little bit interesting, actually. I think I'm looking further down the field. I think Matthew Hall. I don't know why. Matthew Hall. Down in P12, behind Cameron Dowds. Cameron normally quite quick off the line anyways. I think from P12 could be there, but I am probably preempting at least 4 or 5 safety cars in this race for him to be up there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anybody, should the timing be right. And I know that every time we come to Saudi Arabia, it's honestly never straightforward. And I know I've said that already, but it is never, and I mean never straightforward. Matthew Hall, though, it's great to see him back. I'm glad you've gone for him, to be honest, but I'll let you take it away.
5 red lights about to go out here in Saudi Arabia. Round number 2 of the championship about to begin, and it is lights out and away we go. Two to get a better start compared to Kai Pearson, but Kai in the second phase of the start pulls away and will lead down and towards turn number 1. Liam Bowman tries to go around the outside now on that hard runner of 2D and gets the job done to the inside line of turn number 1. Now through 2, and Jerry Van Bussel's going to be right there coming in towards turn 4 as well. The real first pinch point on the circuit has been negotiated well. Furious going side by side with Joe Murphy now through the mid pack. Tom going side by side as well. Now on the inside line for turn right, hits the wall there slightly on the left hand side. Macho filters in behind. Matthew Hall has made up a position past Cameron Dowd early on. Looks like everyone is on a set of hard compound tyres. In the wall there is Keki further down the field to the NLR man in trouble. Cameron Dowd, Mubarak there on a set of soft compound tyres, making very good inroads. Nearly went into the back there, and Matthew Hall coming through the left hand return 13 for the first time. It's Kai Pearson that leads the way. Jerry Van Bussel in second. Liam Bowman there in third, and Mubarak going around the outside through the kinks now at 14 and 15 into 16 and 17. Gets the job done. Set of soft compound tyres from Mubarak really coming alive early on.
The general consensus was hard medium tonight, but Yeri and Moba have opted for soft tyres, and it does mean that Yeri is already threatening for the race lead coming towards the end of lap 1 as pretty significant inroads on the front of the field as well. Here comes Yeri to the final corner. He wants to get a move on. Kai Pearson in the middle of the circuit. He will stay behind for the time being. Will the Dutchman stonks up the inside of Joe Murphy. This is a good little battle between two old rivals previously in Tier 2 a couple of seasons ago. Here they come down the start-finish straight. Stonks edges ahead, using some of the battery. Jerry Van Bossel didn't need battery. He takes the lead at the start of lap 2.
Cameron Dowd's getting the move done on Matthew Hall. Matthew Hall now looking to the inside line. Cameron saying, you know what, you're normally biased towards me. I may as well pull off a bias move on the back of Matthew Hall on me. As now they go side by side towards turn number 4. Cameron Dowd gets the job done. He's into 12th. Matthew Hall there down in 13th. There was strife further down the field. I think Flopman was in trouble there. I think he spun. Keki continuing on, so no front wing damage on the car at least. But Jerry Van Bussel beginning to pull away. 7/10 of a second around here from Kai Pearson in second. Liam Bowman there in third. Tudi there in fourth. Gabor there in fifth in the early stages of this race here in the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia. Jerry Van Bussel, though, on that sort of soft compound tyres, physically they look quicker out on track. But by lap 5, lap 6, they will really begin to go off. Kai Pearson, Liam Bowman, all they've got to do ideally is stay within a second of Jerry Van Bussel. It is easy enough for the man ahead because Jerry Van Bussel is just racing himself right now. Kai Pearson, though, using up the battery to good effect, closing up down the straight, now on the back of the PSGL PSF1 champion in season 35.
I mean, there is a striking resemblance to last week's race. Of course, we had Shizou Tom and Cam at the front of the field. Tom made an early mistake, which sort of kept Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman in range because Cameron Dowd was sitting second. But again, this time around, Kai Pearson and Liam Bowman are just not going to let Yeri go. And in fact, Kai Pearson is almost bump drafting Jerry Van Bussel down the start-finish straight. And yeah, this is worrying signs for a race leader on soft tyres. Yes, he'll get that undercut, but we know that he will very easily be overtaken towards the back end of the race, especially when Kai and Liam Bowman and everybody still in the train behind. And Stonks is out of that train. He's into the outside wall at turn 4. Is that going to be an early safety car?
No.
Unbelievably, I don't think so.
No, I think he's hit the inside wall coming through turn number 4. I just caught that very much so, flicking through the field there. Just caught that on the inside curve, on the inside wall. You hit that wall, your front left tyre will come off. That's exactly what's happened to Stonks. He's gone then into the right-hand side wall, speared off into the wall. He's actually speared off on the off-road just before turn number 5. Through that little right-handed king. That's where he's gone off, so that's where it's off track, and that's why it is no safety car out on track. And it was very similar actually in PSF1 and PSGL as well, because the same incident happened. There was no safety car there either. Tom now on the back of Mubarak, looking through, and there's a VSC. As soon as I say that, there's a VSC deployed out on track. Not sure if it's for anybody else down the field. Is it for NLR Keki by any chance? Yes, it is. He's got no front wing.
Yeah, he's hit the wall somewhere, hasn't he? The whole thing's been taken off, and that is what triggers our first full course caution of the evening. It's always bizarre to see a massive accident not cause anything, and then something as minor as that, in the grand scheme of things, cause a virtual safety car. However, it hasn't caused any shake-up in the field. Nobody's coming to the pits just yet. It's too early. Just be too silly to do so. Even for the soft runners that could gain a cheap pit stop and go to the end, they would have considered it, of course, when that VSC first came out, but there'd be no benefit this early in the race.
Safety car, by the way, I've just checked on live on stream. It is on reduce, so I'm not sure if that is that within the rules and regs and it's normally reduced?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Oh well, if that's the case, then we're absolutely fine. If not, then we're going to be calling probably a restart, I think, at this point. Jerry Van Bussel leading the way from Kai Pearson in second, Liam Bowman there in third. Still the VSC is out on track. Heck, he still hasn't changed his front wing. Now he's about to come out of the pit lane, so he's going to get, in a sense, even though he's got that front wing damage, technically a free pit stop, because he's going to be on fresher tyres towards the rest of the field. Everyone will have to come and then box in. Keki then will have to make up positions. We get back underway, and Kai Pearson is hassling the back of Jerry Van Bussel underneath this restart. But again, those set of soft compound tyres so good through the corners. He has now got time and patience, but Kai Pearson hasn't got time and patience. He's going to breeze past him down the straight now into all the left-handers at 22 and 23, and that's Kai Pearson through and into the race lead. Jerry Van Bussel in second. All he's got to do now down this straight is stick with him, and I think Jerry Van Bussel, knowing he can sense an opportunity for an overtake, it's going to happen. Beautiful helicopter cams. He now tucks in towards the slipstream, down into the left-hander turn number 27. Jerry Van Bussel not going for the move, but Gabor is to the inside line at 2D at turn 27. Does he get the job done? No, he nearly oversteers the car through that corner, nearly hits the wall. 2D there back around the outside, gets into fourth, and there's also a fight. Ogwing and Quantum going side by side.
And Jerry Van Bussel back into the race lead, so he wasn't just going to stick with Kai Pearson, he was going to use him all day to get back up into the lead of the race. Gabor did get ahead of Judy. That was a slight opening in the train that has now opened up even more following another NVR Gabor mistake on the exit of turn 2. Of course, he disqualified at the end of qualifying. He's now finding himself some good race pace to be able to overtake the Romanian. But look at this train. Further on back, if anybody makes a mistake, clips the wall, there is avoiding action to be had. Flopman's come into the pit lane for new mediums. Keke had also done so to repair that front wing. It's really only those two adrift from the remainder of this high-speed train.
And I think Flopman might have had front wing damage potentially as well. Looking how close they came out, 1.7 seconds compared to what the gap was, 5.5 seconds, I think, when Keki came in the pit lane. Yeah, that's definite damage, I think, for Flopman on that car. Kai Pearson once again breezing past Jerry Van Bussel down the straight in towards turns 22 and 23, and Kai Pearson once again takes the race lead here on that 5 out of 25, so fifth of the way through here in Saudi Arabia. If you are enjoying the stream, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel, as Joe Murphy tries to eye up the move now on the back of Tootie. As soon as I go off the battle for the lead, it goes on again. Jerry Van Bussel takes the race lead. Kai Pearson now in second, Liam Bowman there third. I'm just going to stick my camera angle now on this front pack, because Kai Pearson is probably going to now get past Jerry Van Bussel down in towards turn number 1. And there we go, to the inside line, in towards turn 1. He knew that the camera was on him this time. Kai Pearson back through and into the race lead. What I like to call, Joe, the yo-yo effect going on around here between Kai Pearson and Jerry. They're just yo-yoing in terms of position. But that is good, I think, now for Jerry Van Bussel, because he can just sit in behind, maintain that battery at this early stage. 97% Jerry Van Bussel has got. Kai Pearson on 87. Liam Bowman got a full amount of battery. So they are equal, kind of, in terms of battery. Jerry Van Bussel, though, is now struggling in terms of his setup, and definitely struggling coming through that first sector.
Yeah, he would have been taking a lot out of these tyres in the first stint, particularly in the wheel-to-wheel combat that he's had with Kai Pearson so far, sort of running it again back to last week. It was Cameron Dowds in this situation, soft in between two hard runners, and he was consistently DRSing back for the race lead. I think he was in the lead when he pit on lap 12 last week, so the softs can do you a fair distance to quite a few tracks, but again, if Jerry just loses touch with that 1 second DRS range, then this becomes a completely different race for him. Fortunately, he's got 3 DRS zones to play with, and that gap does come down every time he opens up the flap in the rear wing. I don't think he'll be too confident with his tyres now to be making moves where he doesn't necessarily have to. It is very important that Jerry just tries to nurse these tyres now through its first drop-off stage. I think it'll be well beyond that, and it'll only be deteriorating from here on. It's the top 17 all in a train now. Doesn't make for the prettiest of racing. Everyone's just waiting and saving for the pit stops.
But what that does mean, though, it all brings to crescendo, potentially, in terms of the second half of the race and in terms of the overtaking that we will see in the second half of the race. Let's hope nobody crashes into the wall and deploys a safety car right about now. You watch, it'll be jinxed now. Kyle Pearson leading the way from Jerry Van Bussel in second, Liam Bowman there in third. Jerry Van Bussel, as I said earlier on, lap 5, lap 6, you get to around lap 6 into the race, these tyres really begin to drop off, and the set of soft compounder tyres, you can tell through that first sector, really beginning to drop off on Jerry Van Bussel compared to Kai. Again, a slight wiggle there coming to the left-hander, loses about 300ths of a second, has to use up a little bit of battery to Jerry Van Bussel just to stay within touch, just to stay within that 8/10 margin, what gives you the slipstream around this track. It's not too bad down the straights because obviously we've got the DRS down here, but Jerry Van Bussel on the back of Kai Pearson, it's almost Joe, I've got to say, he's on the back foot right now, is the man in second. Liam Bowman there in third is trying to close in, but he's in turn on the back foot as well. And then you've got Gabor in fourth, he's just borderline and a second of ERS, so there could easily be a split happening in this field. Macho on the back of Tom running down the straight in toward the left-hander now, turns 27. Is he going to look for the inside line? Maybe. Was catching quite quickly, he's not going to go for the move though, is Macho on the back. Kai Pearson leads the way. Jerry Van Bussel there in second. And Jerry Van Bussel now crossing right back up to the back of Kai Pearson. But watch through this first sector how much Kai will gain in terms of that compounder tyre.
Yeah, Yerry is always going to be on the back foot in this race, but by no means is it worst case scenario at the moment. He's doing exactly everything he needs to. There's now a breakaway top 3 with Gabor again just slipping outside of that 1 second range. I'd be able to get back into it, but he's used significantly more ERS than his teammate in front of him. I'm sure his teammate will be accommodating. Don't rule that out, him just backing up a 10th just to keep him within the train. But yeah, this is... It's not bad. I'll say that for Yerry at the moment. He can still push on, make that 2, 3, 4 second undercut that you mentioned earlier. For as long as this race goes on normally, maybe he has less of a chance towards the end of it.
Joe Murphy right on the back of 2D, coming to the left-hander there of turns 16 and 17. Right on the back, running down the straight, over the painted curbs as they run that down, all the way down the straight and towards turns 22 and 23. But look at Gabor now, the NVR man. Liam Bowman now getting on with things. Gabor now beginning to struggle, maybe in terms of his connection, maybe in terms of his setup. Something is struggling in that car because 2D now is going to breeze past him to the outside line through turn 26. Easy as you like for 2D. Gabor there down into 5th. Joe Murphy there in 6th position as well. Are we going to see the race lead change as well? Jerry Van Bussel now on the back of Kai Pearson running down through the final corner. Mubarak there looking on the back of Tom running down the straight. Jerry Van Bussel on the back of Kai in towards turn 1. They're just going to filter through. Jerry Van Bussel does kind of attack into the race lead. Doesn't quite go for the move though. That was a bit of a strange one. It was a half-hearted luck burn towards turn 1 for Jerry. But what I think that has done now, because he can realise the tyres are now struggling, 2D now is in 4th. He's now getting back within a second of ERS, and that was all because of Jerry Van Bussel's very much uncertainty going in towards turn 1 there.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because Liam Bowman was also on the attack, and in that situation, Yerry doesn't want to lose another position because then it might just start to see Liam Bowman and Kai Pearson collectively pull away. So he did have to try and box Liam Bowman in, therefore make a half-hearted attempt to the inside, therefore just keep Kai Pearson on his toes defensively as well. The train's closed back in, TF10-2D doing a really good job in terms of race pace. I know he puts in a lot of time trial practice, and I don't blame him, but it does keep you consistent for times like this. Lap 9 of 25, time of Den Blanken saying in the chat, haven't watched a console race in ages, I wanted to personally welcome you back as well. You're in for a good one in the last 16 or so laps.
And look at that camera angle. If that camera angle's not good enough for you, then you're not living in console tier 1 world. As Jerry Van Bussel looks to the race lead on the back of Kai Pearson in towards turn 27. Job done for him. He's through and he's into the race lead. Kai there in second, Liam Bowman there in third. We should see first pit stop to begin to happen around about now. Mubarak is the one that's struggling through the field. I'd not be surprised if he actually comes in this lap, but he's going to stick out there. He's going to stay out there for now. As Jerry Van Bussel now gets overtaken once again for the race lead by Kai Pearson. Again, every single time I go off this race lead battle, it just kicks off again. Kai Pearson leading the way, Jerry Van Bussel in second, Liam Bowman there in third, 2D fourth, Gabor fifth, Joe Murphy in 6th then, Furious Tom, Macho and Mubarak top 10, Cameron Dowds, Matthew Hall, Ogween, Quantum and Zozo top 15, and NLR Tim after his qualifying shocker, I've got to say, for the NLR man down in 16th, Brandok's there at 17th, and then Keki and Flopman both have had front wing changes. Flopman's had it twice, Gabor's made a mistake coming through the first sector there, and now Joe Murphy looks to the outside line, in toward the background, and I think you're catching Quantum and Zozo coming through the first sector.
Unbelievably, I've just seen Quantum do the old skateboard trick coming out of turn number 9. Guess who followed him right as you were talking about him? NLR Tim. And Tim did hit the wall, so I thought that might have been front left tyre off. He just grazed it, and it seems to have got away without damage. But yeah, 2 cases of the old trick here in Saudi Arabia. Again, both getting away with it.
Both getting away with it. Luckily for them, not caught on camera, which I'm very glad to say. Liam Bowman on the back of Jerry Van Bussel, Jerry on the back of Kai, on for the race lead once again. Tudi now getting involved in this along with Gabor. All really, as Jerry Van Bussel gets very close to the back of Kai, he's made the mistake and he's going to have to go and force on for another lap. If he wanted to come in the pit lane that time around, now is not the question, because Liam Bowman now looking down the straight in towards turn 1. Could be 3 wide in towards turn 1. Jerry Van Bussel again, half-hearted looking towards turn 1, putting Kai under pressure. It's very risky, I've got to say, from Jerry Van Bussel, because he gets any closer on the brakes there to Kai. There's a VSE deployed out on track. Is that for Flopman in the wall by any chance? Yes, it is. I can just tell that he's got no front wing on the car. He was ghosted as rolled on board with him. Flopman's got no front wing on the car. Another VSE out on track. Would have been perfect for Kai and Mubarak to come in the pit lane. The safety car, the VSE though, has came out 20 seconds too late for them.
Yeah, it came out too late for everybody. So no opportunity to make a quick decision again in terms of strategy. It's about the time where Jerry Van Bussel and Moba would have wanted to pit in this one. It's also a good time for the hard runners as well to consider a set of mediums to the end. But will this virtual safety car last the full length of the lap? I don't think it will. Sometimes it does, mind you. There's a bit of a random code, I think, in the game for the duration it can potentially last. But yeah, we'll have to make that judgment when that period comes. Flopman, I think this is going to be for retirement, isn't it? Yes, it is. We've lost a second driver in this race alongside NVR Stonks.
Yeah, such a shame, I've got to say, for Flopman. DRS now back enabled, so they all know they are on the back part of the lap now. Should they want to come into the pit lane? Liam Bowman now on the back of Jerry Van Bussel, running down the left-hander now and towards turns 26 and 27. Jerry Van Bussel on the back of Kai, getting towards the race lead once again. But he's not going to go for the move there, the Aston Martin on the back of the AlphaTauri. One AlphaTauri, of course, in the lead. And one AlphaTauri further down the field in 16th right now in Brandnox. And there goes Liam Bowman to the inside line, down in towards turn number 1. And he's going to get Kai Pearson along with it as well. The Flying Scotsman now takes off into the race lead. And now the steam train in full action here in Saudi Arabia. Liam Bowman now takes the lead. And the Flying Scotsman hits the front for the first time.
He does indeed. Good sign there for Liam Bowman. Has been patient throughout the entirety of the race. The opportunity has finally came for him. And he's gone and taken that. As for Jerry, I think he considers a pit stop at the end of this lap because, well, he could only just start to go backwards from now on. Why not tackle the problem at source that he's dropped to third by undercutting and going straight back up into the race lead? He has that power in his hands. We might well see him do that on this lap. NVR Gabble, Tudi, they've closed right up as well, haven't they? They have not gone away. As with everybody still in this train, Moba's come into the pit lane, as has Tim. So we'll see where they filter out in all of this. Moba was on the soft tyres, of course. He is 25.4 seconds off the lead. Could be pushing for higher ends of the top 10 at the moment.
Timon mentioned in the chat as well, very good point I've got to say in terms of tyre wear. 4.7% on average per lap in terms of the medium compound tyres. Timon doing my job, I've got to say, in terms of average tyre wears. Kai looks to the race lead there on the back of Liam Bowman down the straight in toward the left-hander now. It's turn 26 and 27. Yeah, 4.7% apparently on a set of mediums. I think it's about 5.5 on a set of softs per lap. And on a set of hards, it's more about 4%. As there, Jerry Van Bussel is into the pit lane, so he's the first to come in. Is anybody filtering in behind him? Yes, there goes Joe Murphy into the pit lane. He was the one pressurising, I've got to say, the front 5 in terms of that train from P6 coming into the pit lane. Set of medium compound tyres on the car. Has picked up a podium around here in the Legacy Division last season, of course, as well. So Joe Murphy definitely going to be on for this. Now, coming out of the pit lane on that fresh set of medium compound tyres. Mubarak, by the way, left-hand side of your screen, on the way down the straight in towards turn 1, and Brandox, I think, is going to be well behind as well on this. Matthew Hall coming out the pit lane. Mubarak is ahead of Matthew Hall coming out the pit lane, and that is a very good undercut that has worked for Mubarak, because he potentially is now in the chance of getting in the front train.
Yeah, he's going to have warmer tyres as well throughout the remainder of Sector 1. Decent amount of battery to boot as well that he's kept in reserve for this exact situation. 1 second roughly is the gap at the moment. That's decent news for Yerry, actually, seeing Joe Murphy picked for the same undercut as him, because that's a car buffer, isn't it, from when they both potentially jump, Liam and Kai, in this train at the front of the field. Do they respond on this lap? Do they leave it a bit longer? They also know that unlike last week, they've got a lot more hard tyre runners in close proximity behind. So we'll see on the run down to turn 27. Liam Bowman stays behind, Tudi stays behind. That's wide for Kai Pearson, and Tudi is going to go up the inside here. Is he going to come into the pit lane? Kai Pearson might have wanted to, but no, he stays out into the pits. Liam Bowman, no, he's hit the wall. And Liam Bowman hit the wall, sped into the pit lane. His car's been reset.
And his car's been reset, and I don't think he's got any front wing damage. How on earth is there no front wing damage on that car, or at least visible front wing damage at least? Liam Bowman, how the hell has he got that stop? I know he's got a 5-second penalty for it, but how on earth has he stopped that from going in the wall on the right-hand side? He got reset to track. Not only that, Tudi's ended up ahead of him coming out of the pit lane. Absolute chaos going on in the pit lane for Liam Bowman, the Flying Scotsman. Well, I think all the wheels have fallen off coming in the pit lane there, quite literally, for Liam Bowman on the back of Tudi now. Tudi goes inside of Liam Bowman. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen on this game, I've got to be honest. Liam Bowman there in 11, and now he's in a net, what, P5, P6 potentially out on track. That 5-second penalty going to come back to haunt him. How on earth? He's got no visible front wing damage on my screen anyways. How on earth he's got away with that, I do not know.
I echo that. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in terms of somebody making a pit stop. I mean, Hamilton put it in the gravel in 2007, but I think we've gone past the need for gravel at pit entrances. Just concrete walls, which was met by the front wing of Liam Bowman. He's got a 5-second penalty. He's very much within his rights to appeal that, considering his car didn't sort of stop. Did he speed? He must have done if he was going in at that pace and ended up hitting the wall. I don't think that he can really argue too much about that. But anyway, we have more pit stoppers, including Kai Pearson, who was in the lead of the race. Let's see how far ahead Jerry Van Bussel goes. But Joe Murphy to the right-hand side, and Joe Murphy into the net lead of the race. Another problem for the front runners. Joe Murphy now in control.
And what did I say about a lap ago? Watch out for him in that train, because he was sick. He was catching on the back of that train before they came into the pit lane ahead of him. And now look where Joe Murphy is. Joe Murphy's now in this race lead. But, big caveat I will throw. The worst possible position to be in this race is in the lead, because you do not want to be there on the final lap of the race. In fact, you don't probably want to be second either on the final lap of the race either, because you could be under pressure from the guys in behind. So the likes of Mubarak. How's Mubarak, by the way, net P3? I do not know. This race has just gone topsy-turvy all of a sudden. Mubarak with that big undercut. I did say, in terms of a big undercut, it can work. Mubarak's definitely tried that. I'm not sure if he's taken that out of the James Head school book of dreams, to be honest. But Mubarak's certainly there. Now under pressure from Tudi. Tudi now getting on with it to the outside line in towards turns 21, 22 and 23. And Tudi's now back through and he's into a net P3 out on track. Set to purple middle sector along with that as well. And now he's going to be sent off in pursuit on the back of Jerry Van Bussel and Joe Murphy, who will be utilising that battery to good effect. And now Jerry pulls the inside line down the straight in towards turn 27. Job done for Jerry Van Bussel. He's going to be in that race lead. Macho and Quantum still continuing on. So that could throw up a little bit of a kettle of fish later on in this race. And they are definitely, Joe, going to go for set us off compound tyres as Joe Murphy once again pulls to the right-hand side, down in towards turn number 1, and Joe Murphy now back into the net race lead, this time though for P3 out on track.
Yeah, they're constantly swapping to cover themselves off from Tudi, who's on the lap fresher tyres. And of course, they both want the lead of the race, so in the event that Tudi does end up battling the car in a net second, whoever's in the lead is going to have a little bit of a gap to try and stretch. It's all mind games, all gamesmanship going on at the moment, all completely fair and completely what we want to see at the moment. Strategical thinking from now throughout the final 10 laps of this race. Second penalty of the race going to NVR Ogui, making his season 17 debut this evening. Now, of course, in Team Shazoo, making a good start to life in the team. The season 15 Tier 2 champion there.
He had to get the Team Shazoo point in, didn't he? Oh, as that Liam Bowman goes to the outside line, in towards on the outside of Mabak, coming through the straight there. Sorry to cut you off on that point, but Liam Bowman through. He did pick up a 3-second penalty as well, which is what I'm going on board. And now Mabak is struggling. Has he got any front wing damage on that car? He's definitely struggling a lot more now compared to what he was. I know there's the fresh runners now coming through the field on the same compound tyre, but Mabak all of a sudden has gone from a net P3 intranet P6 basically out on track in the space of about 30 seconds. It might be because of the tyres, might be because though he might have a little bit of front wing damage on the car, but I don't think he does. I think it is just because of the tyres. As Joe Murphy there down towards turn 1 takes the net race lead once again. Matchroom and Quantum still staying out there. They're going for a set of soft compound tyres. And I think as well, the Shazoo man and Quantum there down in second, the McLaren man, they are wanting, ideally, I think, a safety car to come out in the next 2 or 3 laps just for them to get home in terms of that strategy and for them to be in contention, potentially in this race. Because if a safety car does come out in the next 2 or 3 laps and they're still out there, or as that was Liam Bowman, I think, making a huge mistake there, coming through the left-hander of turns 8, 9, 10, 11, that part of the track. Liam Bowman now under pressure from a back, a ball right on the back of this as well. Macho leading the way, Quantum in second. Their strategy call is for a set of soft compound tyres. Ideally, though, with that, I think they need a safety car within the next 2 laps.
Yeah, there were 2 mistakes going on there. Jere van Bussel hit the wall. That was the inside of turn 6, I do believe. Liam Bowman then, of course, went wide and yielded that position to Kai Pearson, which I think probably was for the better anyway, considering Kai Pearson's fresher tyre advantage. He's probably still very much the favourite to go on and win this one. Here comes Jere back for the race leads. That mistake not putting him off in terms of momentum to fly past Joe Murphy down that back straight in towards turn 27, much like Verstappen did on Russell last year when Verstappen was fighting his way through the field. Down the start-finish straight we go again. Joe Murphy's going to have to go for this. It's a closing gap for 2D, who flies up the inside into the first corner. Joe Murphy hangs it around the outside. 2D's looking to get him side by side on the track. Jere van Bussel loses a couple of positions because he was collected in all of that. 2D's into the net race lead. Joe Murphy maintains second. Kai Pearson into a net third.
2D's literally just been like shot out of a cannon to the inside line of turn number 1. That was marvellous. That camera angle didn't really do it justice. I just saw the McLaren on the left-hand side as there Gabor. Liam Bowman dropping down the field. Liam Bowman, I think, has he got front wing damage on that car? Pulls against the left-hand side. Liam Bowman, definitely something going wrong on that car. Not sure if he's got any front wing damage. It might be left side end plate if there is any. It might just be potentially a wheel, potentially a pad failure or something going on there for Liam Bowman. Not sure what's going on. Whether he's hit the wall or not is a different thing. But Macho leads the way. Quantum in second. They're still staying out there. Kai Pearson now going for the net second. Passing Joe Murphy to the inside line towards turn 22. Gets the job done through this part of the track as now Kai sets his sights now on 2D. These two have fought very aggressively in the past in Legacy Division and now about to do it here in Saudi Arabia in Console Tier 1. Kai Pearson on the outside line of 2D. 2D will try and hang on to the inside if he can, but there goes around the outside Joe Murphy and the Aston Martin, Jere van Bussel and Gabor getting involved in the battle as well. Still staying out there, Quantum and Macho, who still lead the race lead. Gabor there dropping down the field. Jere van Bussel and Gabor have been involved in an instant coming through the final corner. Jere van Bussel is facing the wrong way. Gabor's into the pit lane. That is him spinning the pit lane. That is him done. Jere van Bussel is going to be done out of this race as well. Not sure what went on there. Quite a lot happened in the space of about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think we're going to see 2 more retirements here with Jere van Bussel there retiring in the pit lane. Tim also sped there, I do believe. That's one of our championship contenders out. That was another one looking to stake a claim in the fight this evening. Jere van Bussel also out. Just how things can change rapidly here in Saudi Arabia. That leaves Kai Pearson in the net race leads. Be very tough to stop him from here. 2D and Joe Murphy fighting hard for podiums, and they're in the custom of Kai Pearson's DRS range, it'd be hard for anybody behind to really break into that, of course. Freshest tyres, other than Kai Pearson, Shazoo Tom, who's got Moba going wide in front of him. Kai Pearson's now overtaken Quantum, who's yet to pit in this race. And of course, Quantum won't want to hold his teammate up TF10 2D, as the two McLarens are going to have to find a way to negotiate a swap in position. Quantum will let 2D have his DRS first, use some overtake. I'm not sure you really want to really be burning that much when you're trying to let your teammate through, but he is ahead, and then maybe Quantum will now play hold up for Joe Murphy and those behind.
And Joe Murphy's just made contact with Quantum on the back, on the rear end there, coming into through the final corner. Joe Murphy now freed up because Quantum is into the pit lane. Macho is still staying out there, and I can only think it is for Cameron Dowds at the back end of that train and to hold everyone up and to create absolute carnage. That's the only thing I'm thinking here, because those tyres are going to go pop very, very soon indeed. From Macho's perspective, he's on what, 19 lap old hards? Yeah, they're going to pop probably next lap, if not the lap after, lap 21, 22. They will go kaput, quite literally, in front of these guys ahead. Kai Pearson there in second, 2D there in third, Joe Murphy there in fourth. But back now, pretty much to normality, as Kai Pearson is now in the net race lead. 2D there in second, Joe Murphy in third. But I will say, though, Joe, watch out for a Shazoo man further down the field. Tom, in a net P6 right now, on the back of my back, looking very good. He's got a bit of EOS to use up as well. He's got fresher tyres towards the end of the race. He will definitely get those to the end of the race, unlike potentially drivers ahead. So Tom, I think, is looking quite pretty, I've got to be honest, in 7th place right now. As long as he can stay in luck, he'll be fine, I hope.
Yeah, Tom sort of making amends for last week, his race coming to an end following a collision with Liam Bowman that saw the Scottish driver handed a 3-second time penalty. Personally, bit harsh, but I think fair for the overall season precedent. But Matthew Hall around the outside of Cameron Dowds, rather Cameron Dowds on the attack, opening up the DRS. That's more progress from a driver on very fresh tyres. Shazoo Tom is about to do exactly the same thing, going down the inside into the first corner. Moba let that one happen, I think. Cameron Dowds is still fighting it, wheel banging with Matthew Hall, who's squeezing the Ferrari out wide there at turn 2, getting very close between the pair.
Yeah, Matthew Hall currently not on for my prediction of the race win, at least right now, down in 8th position, but we roll. Macho leading the way, Kai Pearson in second, 2D there in third. Macho's tyres still have not gone pop as Brandox is out of the race through the first sector, and that's at turn number 4. Is that going to be a safety car? It wasn't earlier on in the race. Normally, when it happens twice, as Gabor is off as well, and that is a safety car, because he's off, coming to the left-hand at turn number 11. Gabor is off, safety car deployed out on track. Macho has been saved, quite literally, in terms of this race. Everyone will probably transition now into a set of soft compound tyre. Macho leading the way, Kai Pearson in second, 2D there in third. I did say, what did I say a couple of laps ago? Macho needed a safety car to get back into this. Look what's happened. He's got a safety car. Welcome to the big leagues, my friend.
Hello, safety car. You've been missed well and truly this evening. It's great to see you make another appearance. But I don't understand how the game works this out, because Brando again was the one that smashed the wall. Gabor thought, okay, let's crash at the same time, and that would be what deployed this safety car. Macho is making his mandatory pit stop on lap 21 of 25. He's been dying for this moment to finally come in the pit lane, and on goes a set of fresh soft tyres. Everyone else is following him into the pit lane. There'll be no DRS at the end of the race. Surely Macho wins.
But Gabor is staying out. Gabor is going to stay out with no front wing. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Gabor now leads the race with no front wing. Macho in second, Kai Pearson in third. TF10 Ice there in the chat. I hope I pronounced that name right, because I normally pronounce it very wrong. He's saying carnage soon. You've got carnage soon. Gabor there leading the race. Macho in second, Kai Pearson there in third. If there's anything in the rules and regulations right now, please dig it out for me, because I think this is highly unfair on drivers behind who have had a very good race so far. Gabor's got no front wing. He is going to be oversteering that car coming through the final corner until his heart's content. He's there, I think. Well, I would say he was there for Liam Bowman, but Liam Bowman's out of the race already. So Anything can happen. It probably will. Gabor leading the way, Macho in second, Kai Pearson there in third. All I'm going to say now, all hell is about to break loose.
I'm going to offer a little bit of relief to this situation and say that Gabor is probably going to pit at the end of this. I mean,
hope so.
don't know why. I don't know why he wouldn't have come in then just to get it changed, because it's not like he was getting double stacked with Liam Bowman, but he is going to get a fresher tyres, and he was at the back anyway. But yeah, I thought he would have just come in there and then, but if he doesn't, then we do have a problem on our hands. Luckily, I think Macho should just be able to pick him off from the first corner. But yeah, again, all hell will just break loose in behind. Let's see what he does as we enter the first sector. A bit of reaction in the live chat. I see you right saying carnage soon. Matty saying that's dangerous. Max saying one race without cross-teaming.
Yep.
Oh, we never like to mention it in WOR crossplay tier 1, but I hope we've not got a case of that, and I hope that Gabor just does the right thing here.
Yeah, he needs to be sensible, I think. He needs to come in the pit lane. Yes, he'll be at the back of the field, but what about if incidents happen ahead? He could still get points out of that, and that is probably anything, as Gabor is into the pit lane. Thank God for that. Oh, take a sigh of relief, everyone. Breathe in, breathe out, do a bit of yoga, do a bit of Pilates, whatever it is. We're fine now. Macho leading the way, Kai Pearson in second, 2D there in third, Gabor into the pit lane, front wing getting changed on the car. Again, it was a bit strange. Keki's into the pit lane there as well. He's going to come on for a fresher set of softs. Gabor there is coming out of his pit box now on the run down the pit lane in towards turn number 1. But Gabor there in 13th. He's done the sensible thing. He's probably seen that we've been on board with him. Let's just be frank and say, right, well, James has said this. I'm going to do exactly what he says. We don't want to create a little bit of carnage. We don't want to create that what Max has said in terms of cross-teaming. That would have been with Kai Pearson, I think, as well, if that was the case, because Kai and Gabor, obviously with NVR in Legacy Division, are in the same team. Macho there leading the way, Kai Pearson in second, 2D there in third. Avatar mentioned in the chat as well. Nice for Kai, second place will win. Gabor, what does he think? This is not allowed in a real F1 race. It's not allowed, I don't think, in a real F1 race. You don't see Lewis Hamilton going around and causing absolute carnage. But you never know what can happen. This is sim racing at the end of the day. Murray Walker once said anything can happen in Formula 1. It usually does. We're about to go into the final 2 laps with no DRS here in Saudi Arabia. Let the fun and games begin.
Indeed. We are going to go racing at the end of this lap. That leaves us 2 to go on a track that is described as not Mickey Mouse by Ross Brawn when this track came into fruition a few years ago. It's very much been Mickey Mouse tonight. We've got a driver that didn't pit until lap 21 leading this race. How stupid is that? And I mean, the safety car haters are loving life right now because, well, this opportunity has been well and truly handed to Macho, but fair play to him. He had the patience to stay out there. He has earned his reward for doing just that. And after carnage in qualifying, there was a real chance for him to make amends and take an unlikely safety car restart right now.
But Macho, remember, in qualifying, had 2 laps to get in. Both of them he ended up with no front wing. I'm not saying that's going to happen here. I hope to God it's not, because he is very lucky in this race. But Macho now controlling the pace. On board with Kai Pearson for this restart. The AlphaTauri man now on the back of the Shazoo man. In toward the left-hander now of the final corner at turn 27. Kai Pearson taking the outside line. Ferrari there taking the inside line. It's a bit like Hamilton and Verstappen this, let's be honest, through turn 27. Macho and Kai Pearson. When's he going to go? When's he going to go? He will go probably about the start-finish line, I would think, given this. Macho still going. About 40-mile-an-hour pace being maintained. Everyone in behind is keeping a good toe. Cameron Dowd is certainly all over the place on the timing screens. Macho, now he says go, and Kai Pearson is now going to be under pressure from 2D. 2D's under pressure from Joe Murphy, and that's an overtake before the start-finish line for Joe Murphy, down in towards turn 1. He now gives the position back up, down in towards turn 1. I saw that clear as day, though. Kai Pearson picks up a 3-second penalty. Kai Pearson, 3-second penalty deployed out on track for him. So that's now going to put him up against the vanguard from in behind. But Macho leads the way, coming to the first sector. Kai Pearson second, Joe Murphy there in third. Relatively clean restart, I've got to say. Fair play to everyone. Moba is now going on the back of Tom, coming through the left-hander now, turn number 8. Now through the right-hander 9, 10, 11. And then toward the left-hander now, turn number 13 as they come through the first sector for the penultimate time. Macho leads, Kai Pearson in second, Joe Murphy there in third. There goes Cameron Dowd to the inside arm and Quantum. Quantum there hung out to dry, and Cameron Dowd soon he's into 9th.
Unbelievably, you could say that Macho's mind games may have worked. He left it so late at the safety car restart. Kai Pearson only went to cut turn 1. That was his best opportunity to get through without DRS. Was it there for Kai Pearson before the dirty air and the following effects started to come into play? He's still very close and Macho's hit the wall. Coming through turn number 22 and 23 there. Here comes Kai Pearson. Joe Murphy is sitting behind, watching the two go side by side. This is Joe Murphy for the race lead around the outside. When you consider Kai Pearson's penalty, he does the switch back. Macho has a twitch. Something's happened to Furious. Further back, he's lost a multitude of positions. Wheel banging between Joe Murphy and Macho. On the last lap of the race, Joe Murphy's going down the inside into the first corner, potentially for the race win. Unbelievable.
Brilliant stuff, and Mubarak's in trouble. Cameron Dowd's down in towards turn number 1 as well, all getting very aggressive. Furious got caught up in that as well earlier on in the vanguard, but Kai Pearson leads through the first sector on this final lap of the race. Joe Murphy there in second, Macho there in third, Tootie there in fourth. Tootie could still be within a chance of winning this race as well. Looking at battery life, Joe Murphy 38, Macho 33, Tootie 63. Tootie's got more than ERS, 30% ERS at this stage of the race compared to Macho and Joe Murphy. All he needs to do, overtake Macho down this straight, overtake Joe Murphy down the next. It's going to be very difficult for him in the DRS train, but he is capable of doing this as the McLaren man. On the back of Macho, now coming through turn 16 and 17 for the final time. Kai Pearson leading the way. May looks to get that 3-second penalty removed if it is viable for him to get that place removed. Joe Murphy, though, was going to try and hunt him down. We're in for an absolute cracker. Kai Pearson's off. Coming through the right-hand return, 22 and 23. Just about escapes. Joe Murphy now on the front foot, on the downhill running towards turn 27. Tootie all over the back of Macho. Goes to the outside line as well. Joe Murphy will wait until the final corner and will wait until the run to the line to deploy any ERS. Kai Pearson, though, I think is going to hang on. Joe Murphy there in second. Closing in on the run to the line. Kai Pearson takes it out on track, but Joe Murphy to the line will take it on penalties. Joe Murphy in the end wins. Tootie there in the end got Macho around the outside through turn 27 into second. Macho there in third. And I did say watch out for him. Tom in the end, P4 out on track. Phenomenal effort from him out on track. Tom there in fourth, but in the end, only one man can take the race win out on track. That was Joe Murphy. That was a brilliant, brilliant race here in WOR Console Tier 1, and he does take Driver of the Day, awarded by the in-game fans, I think, to boot as well.
Joe Murphy, you are a WOR Crossplay Tier 1 race winner. It always sounds fantastic to say, and welcome a driver into the Hall of Fame. But wow, that was breathless at the very end there, starting from that safety car restart. Macho's opportunity to try and win it. It just didn't go his way. It was that touch of the wall coming through turn 22 and turn 23, which ironically Kai Pearson had a similar moment on the final lap. The pressure was there. He still gets a spot on the podium, fortunately. With Tootie splitting them down the middle, I think that's his best Tier 1 result to date as well. Some very good days for those drivers.
Yeah, oh God, very good results for those drivers indeed. That was a voice crack and a half. I'm not sure what's going on with the game sound right now. Hopefully you can all hear it now. Joe Murphy out on top, Tootie there in second, Macho there in third. How on earth Macho got a podium from hitting the wall on the penultimate lap? I do not know. Tom there in fourth. My pick was fifth. Matthew Hall in fifth. Not a bad run at all from 12th on the grid. Kai Pearson in sixth. Gabor there in seventh. Keki there in eighth. Good job from him. Zozo in ninth. And Quantum ran off the top 10. Then Furious, Mubarak, Cameron Dowd, they got in trouble. Very interesting to see their incidents, actually. Ogwin there in 14th, along with Brandoxy, DNF, along with Tim, Liam Bowman, Jeremy Bussell, Flopman and Songs, all various stages in the race. Oh, take a breath. That race is done. Thank God for that. Saudi Arabia is done. My word, Joel, that was an absolute trip. We'll try and get the cameras back on very, very shortly indeed. You can probably see black screen right now. But there we are. There's our lovely faces. Hopefully it'll just kick back in like magic. That was a fantastic race out on track, Joe. And in the end, Saudi Arabia, as always, delivers.
It does always deliver for the right and the wrong reasons, as some drivers will very much be arguing. There's a lot of lower down incidents that we might have missed there. A lot that will have to be passed on to the stewards. They'll be a lot busier than last week, that is for sure. But regardless, Kai Pearson knocking himself down a few points there. Liam Bowman not scoring. Jerry Van Bussel, what happened to a driver that was contending for the race leads? There are a lot of questions to be answered. I don't think we ever can in Saudi Arabia, unfortunately.
I don't think we do have a can, unfortunately, in Saudi Arabia. I don't think even alcohol is even allowed for the top 3 at least. But fantastic racing out on track, certainly indeed. Let's have a look, though. That's the wrong calendar. Let's have a look, though, at what is to come for the rest of the season. Do you want to try and get the top 3 in, by the way?
I'm going to try to. I think Macho wants to come in, which will be a very interesting chat, I have to say. Join waiting for interview. Sorry, it's just the behind the scenes bit now of how we try and get drivers in.
Well, which will be okay. We'll try and get that sorted out. But what is to come, of course, for the rest of the season here in Console Tier 1, Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix next week in Imola. If you thought Saudi Arabia was something, Imola could be something else. It's going to be very interesting for round 3 of the championship. Then Azerbaijan round 4. Legacy Division's anything to go by around there. Oh my god, you're in for an absolute treat. Canada for round 5. Then there's a break week, and then it's Monza for round 6, China round 7, Austria round 8, Miami round 9, and then Brazil round 10 of the championship. And that is all, of course, on Thursday and Friday nights as well. If you do want to catch more action on the console side, just while I'm here, Legacy Division is on next week. It's Las Vegas. Please tune in. It's going to be interesting. It's a sprint. It's a feature. Please tune in because it's going to be absolute hell for me in the commentary box, absolute hell for Jota in the commentary box as well, alongside me. And there you can see the rest of the field, the rest of the grid as well. In terms of the calendar, Austria round 15 ending off the season. And then, of course, on the PC side, for you PC guys, out on track, March 11th next week is for Imola. And that is, of course, on Monday night. I think PC Tier 1 as well is on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Who have we been joined, by the way, in the commentary box by?
Joe, are you coming to us loud and clear?
I hope
He's
so.
muted.
I don't know.
He is.
Hello, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Hello there.
Well, let's get into the deep end. First of all, how are you? How were the nerves when that safety car deployed and you hadn't pit?
Honestly, well, I didn't really have any nerves, but like I was driving and I said, well, this is a lost case, mate. I'll just stay out like until the end. I don't know. I was on like 76% higher on the hards, and then the safety car came out, and I mean that's quite fun. I mean, I knew, to be honest, when Kai was behind me, I wasn't probably gonna win that because my pace wasn't anything special. But I had my moment of fame. I had my my fun, and to take a podium from that is it's always nice.
Exactly. And do you think that slight mistake cost you the little bang of the wall and then that set you down a couple of places?
The grip was mental on the softs. I guess I turned in too early. Yeah, and then I hit the wall. But like I said again, I don't think I was going to win it anyway. If it was P8, I would have been happy. If it's P3, I'm happy. I mean, P1 is always nice, of course. But I take everything, man.
Yeah, I can't fault you. And what happened in qualifying? That's the Shizou Civil War.
I hope Jim is watching this. Your son was being criminal, man. No, I don't know. I'm in the same party with Cameron, and I don't know. We were just joking a bit, and then he wanted to scare me, like go right. I didn't decide to go left, but then he went left again to not block me. Then I obviously drove into the back of him. Well, luckily I didn't lose any wheels or anything, because that would have been quite bad for Dream as well. But yeah, then I lost another wing on the inside of turn 3, and then I came off with like 1 lap, 25.9 or something. I take it.
Well done, Macho. I'll pass it back to James.
Yeah, well done, Macho. Indeed, come a long way, I've got to say, from FRL back in the day as well. That is going to be a throwback for him and nobody else in the comment section or nobody else in the YouTube chat as well. But P3 out on track. I honestly thought when that safety car came out, it was a blessing in disguise because you were losing, what, 2.5 seconds, I think, a lap before that safety car came
Yeah.
in. That must have took a complete weight off your shoulders when that safety car came out, and then obviously you were out in the race lead bar a rogue Red Bull with no front wing ahead of you.
Yeah, so I didn't know he didn't have a front wing, but who was it in the party? I don't even know anymore. But someone told me that, and I was like, well, if he stays out, and I can somehow pass in like sector 1, and I can gap like a little bit, that would be nice. But yeah, there's no way he pitted, and yeah, I guess it was better for him to stay out. But I do get it, of course, because he's just going to be a big threat to everyone in the field if he doesn't have a front wing. So it wouldn't make any sense for him to stay out.
Yeah, it's exactly what I said in commentary. I think it would have been just very silly, I think, of Gabor to stay out with no front wing, cause absolute chaos, possibly ruin your race, possibly ruin other races with it as well. You did a fantastic job, though, to get P3 in that race. And looking ahead for the rest of the season, of course, Imola next week, a track that I know you do like around there in Imola. How do you think you're going to get on if you are turning up next week?
I mean, I'm going for the bang on average P7, P8, I guess. No, I don't know. Let's hope and let's see. I can do a bit better than that. But again, I'm happy to be here. I'm having fun driving around. It doesn't really matter for me where I finish. I'm just looking ahead to Las Vegas for World.
Oh, are you driving World by any chance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's Las Vegas, man. Can't skip that.
Well, that's going to be fun for us in the commentary box, so that's for sure. I'm glad to know at least one half of the Shazoo lineup, at least going into next week. That can be half of my job done in terms of the driver profiles that I normally do. Indeed, but Macho, I'm not going to leave you anymore. Go and enjoy evening.
Yeah, and thank you very much. Thanks for the comms, and yeah, you guys enjoy your evening as well.
You are very welcome indeed. Joe, who do we have next in the commentary box?
Well, it's a man that celebrated his birthday this week. Happy belated birthday to D, who's finished P2 tonight, following a very good qualifying, a race-long performance as well. A lot of preparation for that one, I heard, 2D, is that correct?
Not at all. Did some time trial in the weekend, but people think that's a prep the whole week, but it's not. I just did like 3 hours before the race, and yeah, I think that's decent prep. Not extreme, not too low. It's decent. So yeah.
5,000ths off in qualifying, so close. What was the feeling like going into that final sector, knowing that you were on course to match Kai Pearson's lap time?
To be honest, my heart wasn't really beating that hard for some reason, but yeah, I missed the apex a bit in the last corner, and that's what cost me the pole. But I was still pretty happy with the position. It doesn't matter if you start P1, P2 in this kind of races. So yeah.
Yeah, and of course, again, long race. You were in that train throughout. You were constantly working with Gabor, I think, at the start, trying to just stay in the train, and then, of course, it all unfolded in the end. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I don't think Gabor really worked with me. Yeah, it was just to get with Liam, so they can work together as they are in the same team. But yeah, it was a pretty clean train, can't lie. So yeah, no one gone for like stupid moves and that stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, congratulations to you, 2D. Back to James.
Kenzie mentioned in the chat apparently that Joe Murphy could be getting a penalty. Any word potentially on that?
I cannot comment on that really. I didn't really see it. I was focusing on Matcha when he was restarting. So, but if it happens, of course I don't mind it.
I mean, if that does happen, you will be promoted to the race win, which would be even better, definitely on your part. Looking ahead, of course, going into next week at Imola, are you going to be racing first and foremost? And second of all, how do you think you're going to get on?
Yes, I'm gonna race, and hopefully the same as I did on Jeddah. The pace on Imola is not bad for me, if I remember correctly. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, hopefully he puts a little bit more practice in for Imola. If he's just said that now, I'm expecting a bit more practice to be put in. That is for sure. Going into Imola, I will let you go and enjoy evening, Tootie.
Thanks, guys.
Very welcome indeed. Are we going to be hearing our fake Irishman potentially joining us in the interview room?
Don't know. He's not waiting, so I can't drag him in if he's not here. But I'm sure he's going to be celebrating that one anyway. So, well, I think we'll leave him to it tonight.
Well, he has put bedtime in the Discord about 10 minutes ago, so I'm guessing he's going off to bed, which for some of us is very good. For some that want to play WWE 2K24, however, definitely not, because I'm going to go straight on there after we finished here. But of course, a reminder of what is to come in the coming week here in WOR. It of course is the console tiers. Of course, that is on Thursday and Friday. F2, of course, is on tier 2 even is on just before 7 p.m. on Friday. The rest of the tiers, tier 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many tiers there are in WR these days, are there before on Thursday, and that is at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time as well. So if you do want to tune in for that, Imola, of course, being the track next week. Legacy Division as well, coming up on Tuesday. Final plug, of course, for Legacy Division. It is Las Vegas, as I say. Do tune in for that, because all hell will probably break loose. I will probably lose my voice. It is well worth tuning in if it's anything like last season. Definitely gonna be a fan of Las Vegas. It is a sprint and a feature race as well, so even more points available for the 10 teams competing in Legacy Division. And of course, not forgetting on the PC side as well, on Monday night, Imola, of course, is going to be the track next week, and then we've got Azerbaijan, Canada, very much following the same pattern in terms of PC. And that is, of course, all on Monday night, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. UK time, depending on what tier you are in. That, I think, is pretty much it from us. I really like to thank Joel, who joined me in the commentary box for tonight, and a big thank you to Gareth as well for leaving me his seat open, I've got to say, tonight. Hopefully he's feeling a lot better going into next week. Hopefully he'll be back next week as well, and that is what we like to see. Definitely Gareth and Joel at the top of their game next week in Imola. But for myself, from Joe, thank you so much for watching, and until next time in WR Console Tier 1, goodbye.